Welcome into the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Got a great show in store for you today, folks. Jessica Freeberg's on the way with Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals in just a bit. But first, we started out this program many, many years ago. In fact, I want to say, gosh, it's been almost 14 years now, True Crime Tuesday, talking about the Black Dahlia. We're going to talk about the Black Dahlia today with a great author who's put together a very interesting slant on the Black Dahlia. In fact, I think he's got this whole thing figured out. I will go out on that branch, out on that limb, and tell you, I think our guest today, Eli Frankel, has this whole thing figured out brilliantly, as a matter of fact, with his new book. We'll tell you about that book here in just a moment. Eli Frankel has served as a television and documentary production company owner, Emmy-nominated executive producer, network executive, showrunner, editor, camera operator, writer, and director of multiple series for broadcast television, cable television, and streaming networks. His credits include MGM Epic's definitive Charles Manson documentary series, Helter Skelter, Netflix Emmy-nominated Skin Decision, Revenge Body with Khloe Kardashian, American Chopper, Survivor, Amazing Race, and many other series. I have no idea what he's doing here, but I'm honored to have him here. A graduate of the University of Southern California's Distinguished School of Cinema, Television, Film Production Program. He wrote, directed, and co-produced the feature film 21. It's a feature film as well, which was selected for the Independent Feature Film Market, the New York Film Festival, and won Best Picture Award at the Rhode Island International Film Festival. As an avid true crime researcher and writer, he devoted more than 5 years to solving the mystery of who killed the Black Dahlia. Kensington Publishing is releasing his first book, which, by the way, comes out today. It's called Sistersindeath, The Black Dahlia, the Prairie Heiress, and their hunter. By the way, it comes out today. Eli is in Los Angeles and is here to speak to us today. I want to welcome for the first time to True Crime Tuesday, Eli Frankel. Eli, thank you so much for being here today, my friend.
Oh, it's great to be here with you, Tim. I appreciate it.
Pleasure's all mine. Pleasure's all mine. First of all, I got to compliment you on not only the thorough research on this case, but I really do believe you solved this entire thing.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a heck of a journey, and this is the funnest part, is being able to talk about it with people like you and your audience and finally be able to discuss this world I've been in for so many years.
And I say that I really do believe you solved it because you've done it in an era where, let's face it, forensics, there was no DNA, right?
Right.
There was, and it was such a, boy, what's a good way to put this, Eli? The way that you had to put this together, I mean, it was really taking clues from over here, and you had to put together associations. And it was really a complicated game to put everything together, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. It was, I kind of liken it to having to do a 10,000 piece puzzle, which is a lot. Like a 1,000-piece puzzle is a lot. It's like doing a 10,000 piece puzzle, but they give you 20,000 pieces in the box. And you've got to figure out not only what order they go in and how to put them together, but which pieces fit and which pieces don't.
So let me ask you this before we jump into it. Where did the fascination with the Black Dahlia murder case come from for you?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been fascinated with LA history. My grandparents moved here many, many years ago, decades ago. They used to tell me stories about the city way back when in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and so on. And I just have found Los Angeles to be this really rich, layered narrative that reflects the 20th and 21st century, but also is kind of stubbornly refuses to hew to what the rest of the country is doing. There's amazing characters. There's amazing, amazing creativity going on in the city, but there's also a really unique underside and underbelly. And I got very pulled into that from an early age. Probably because I'm not a criminal and not involved in all sorts of sort of licentious things. And I don't know, I've always had a fascination with it. So that's what the dark side of LA history, really became an obsession. And obviously you come across the Black Dahlia when you're looking into that.
I'm going to throw this question at you right away, and we're going to exclude this from the entire conversation. The entire time I'm reading the book, nowhere in there is George Hodel, who Steve Hodel, famous LAPD detective, claims is the killer of Elizabeth Short, who is
Yeah.
the center of the Black Dahlia case. Why, in your mind, is George Hodel not a suspect?
Yeah. Well, I mean, let me just preface this by saying that I have a lot of respect for Steve Hodel. He's created really an incredible world in his books and really a tremendously interesting and fascinating supervillain. And I also, I respect Steve's influence on the true crime community, the development of true crime over the last 2 decades. So, I look at that case strictly from kind of an objective viewpoint. I've looked into George Hodel as a suspect and including everybody else that's been named as a potential suspect. I've done really laborious research into all those people as well because I wanted to know, is there a possibility this is the way, this is the right person, this needs to be investigated. And while, George remains a fascinating and layered figure, and there's a lot of questions about his activities in Los Angeles and subsequent, there is not a shred of evidence that he ever met Elizabeth Short, knew her, was in proximity to her whatsoever. And there's also a lot of evidence to suggest that George was sort of pulled into a lot of events that were kind of beyond his control. His daughter telling the police that he had killed the Black Dahlia. And I think in a lot of ways, at that moment, it was such a sensitive time for the police with regards to the case, which had kind of gone cold. And there was a tremendous amount of pressure for them to solve it. I think they were determined to find somebody at any cost. And all of a sudden, they have this mysterious doctor. But ultimately, the district attorney and the Los Angeles Police Department, who were determined to solve this case at any cost, it was literally the future of the department lay in the solution of this case and the arrest of somebody and getting them off the street. After really doing extensive investigations to him, both came to the same conclusion, which was this guy didn't do it.
Okay. It seems like that, and I'll leave it with this because I want to jump into the actual book Sisters of Death here because it's so fascinating. The story is so fascinating. And I really do believe you've nailed it.
Thank you.
Um, it seems like we've gotten hit over the head with the Hodel story, and that
Yeah.
this has got to be it. And Steve really came out and he really did emphasize, I really do believe my father did this,
Mhm.
and tried to put together a compelling case. Um, and like you said, they really did have to have an answer here for the public because it was a scary case. I mean, it was, the panic had set in,
Yeah.
in the LA area. But the fact that there was no repeat case in LA really
Yeah.
does suggest that, and as you put together in the book here, there was a repeat case, but it wasn't in LA.
Right.
It took place elsewhere,
Yeah.
and you've connected those cases. Um, it really does suggest that, you know what, maybe Steve should have been looking elsewhere, and he should have been looking for another case that was similar to really put this together.
Well, I do think that he has attempted to link his father to a series of murders throughout the West and the Philippines and Hawaii, including the Zodiac murders, and none of them make any sense in
Yeah,
terms of their connection to the Black Dahlia. The truth is scarier, which is they're all committed by different people.
right,
Yeah, so I think there's been an attempt to sort of try to find those other murders, and it's a little jerry-rigged in terms of his connection or the evidence to it, as is with the Black Dahlia as well. But to each their own.
right, right. You call this book Sisters of Death for one reason and one reason only. There are two women here that are connected, and they're connected by a single thread. And it's interesting when you start to read the book and go through it, and you find out eventually what that thread is. But Leila Welsh is the first person that you introduce us to. Tell us a little bit here, Eli, about Leila Welsh and who she is.
Yeah, so Leila Welsh was grew up about 30 miles south of Kansas City in the 19 teens and 20s, in a little rural town. And then her family moved to Kansas City when she went to college in the 1930s. And the little interesting fact, even though they lived simply, they were modest people. They were essentially the heirs to a Kansas City real estate fortune. Came from Kansas City royalty. Their family was really important in real estate development in the city and really helped build it from this kind of Western cow town to a major metropolitan jewel in the crown of American industry. It's a fascinating story, their history in the city. In 1941, she's living with her mother and her brother on, a pretty suburban, middle-class neighborhood in Kansas City. She returns home from seeing the circus with her boyfriend at 1:30 a.m., says goodnight to her mother, goes in her room, washes up, and then goes to sleep. And about an hour later, someone slips through the open window of her room and proceeds to utterly destroy her, takes her apart, mutilates her, hits her with a 5-pound track hammer, kind of damaging her skull. She's not dead yet, but then he proceeds to slash her throat, bleed her out, and spends at least an hour or an hour and a half in the room carving pieces of skin and flesh out of her body and a few other things as well, and then escapes. The body is not found until the next morning. But what the police find that is so intriguing and so different here is that the killer leaves behind this elaborate trail of evidence. Almost everything that he brought with him and used to commit the murder is left in the backyards behind the houses that surround this home like I said, in a trail. And he keeps going and going and going. The killer just deposits everything, which is crazy because the police have lots of technology even back then to determine, who somebody was that was in possession or proximity of a piece of evidence. So it's very risky. We have a killer here who's willing to take enormous risks. They're kind of awkward, but they are fiendish. And so we see a lot of the same patterns with Elizabeth Short, where parts of her body were returned within her body. And also the evidence that was sent into the police, the killer leaving behind haphazardly her purse and shoes in the trash can of near a cafe, and it was discovered. There's some really interesting kind of behavioral patterns that emerge there, not to mention obviously all the similarities in the two murders.
Now, Eli, as far as Leila goes, there's some interesting things to her background, to her dating life that that she has in common with Elizabeth Short. Now, I may be mixing their histories up here, so forgive me.
Sure.
Leila didn't have as convoluted, if I'm using the word correctly here, a dating history as Elizabeth Short, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth Short got, let's just say she didn't necessarily run through a lot of guys. That's not the way I want to put it. That sounds horrible. But there were times where Elizabeth she wasn't sexually promiscuous, but she did date a lot of guys in order to use them for money, right?
Well, yes and no. And I think, one of the big goals I had for the book was, regardless of the killer and the hunt for the killer and the evidence and all that, if readers could come away with a better understanding of who Elizabeth Short really was, not the Black Dahlia that we've created, but the real person, that in and of itself would be really advantageous to the case.
Okay.
Because we need to do a better job of understanding her as she was. Who was she at 22 years old, bravely traveling across the country to find whatever her future had for her? And there's a lot to admire about her, along with being realistic about the things that maybe we judge or don't find as necessarily sort of heroic. There's a lot to praise about her. And I just think those things need to be balanced. Now, one of the distortions, and I'm not contradicting you, you're right. She did go on dates with a lot of guys. But one of the distortions that's emerged literally 2-3 weeks after the murder occurred and still is kind of promulgated across myriad podcasts and articles and books was that she was dating different guys every night, chiseling them for a dinner, going dancing, a ride here, there, money for rent, all those things. And she sort of used people. And I did a really, really deep dive into pretty much every piece of evidence there is about who she was, letters she sent, correspondence with family, friends, ex-boyfriends, witness statements from people who knew her and what they had to say about her. And what emerges is really a different picture than what we think. First of all, she never was trying to become famous. The line that's always repeated is she sought fame in life only to find it in death. Well, she never sought fame in life. She never auditioned for any movie roles. She never tried to get close to any directors or producers or get on the lot anywhere. She never was an extra. She had no interest in being a star or being on film. The thing that she wanted, her goal in life, was to find love. She wanted to find stability. She wanted to have a family. She wanted to live in the white picket fence. And most of all, she wanted somebody who loved her. And a lot of that goes back to her childhood and stuff. But, it's the most basic thing. And it's really the thing we're all looking for. And I think through that one piece of information about her, we can really begin to understand what her motivation, her agenda is. And then in addition to that, people always talk about how she was so social and dating everybody in Hollywood. But the truth is, when you look at what people said about her and where she was, almost every night that she was in Los Angeles in the fall of 1946, she was actually going to CBS and NBC radio, the radio headquarters there where they had all the broadcast shows that would go on around the country. If you were in Los Angeles, you could get a ticket and go see the show live in person. Even though it's radio, you get to watch them on stage performing it. She loved those shows. And she was there, just at NBC, she was there over 20 times, 20 nights. CBS was more like 30. So in many ways, she's a loner. She likes to be alone. She likes to see Hollywood. She's never been there before. And here she is in town. She's going to these radio shows. Yeah, she went on dates. That's the way it was in Hollywood back then. The war was over. You have hundreds of thousands of GIs coming back from the war. Things are pretty loose in town. And you walk down the street, many people said you walk down the street in Hollywood Boulevard, 10 guys would ask for your number or give you their number. That's the way it was. People dated, they were social, the war was over. That was not unusual. But ironically, she was mostly by herself during that time.
Was it Leila that lost her fiance in the war? Or was
No,
it?
that was Elizabethshort.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Elizabeth really had lost her first love in the war.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. And another mistruth about that is that she had a clipping about his death, which had occurred in August of 1945. It was literally after the war had ended. 2 days later, his plane went down in India. And in the article, she blacked out the name of the person who he was engaged to marry. Right. So, and she would tell people that this was my fiance, but they got the name wrong. So ever since then, so many podcasts and articles and yada, yada, yada have kind of shown that demonstrated that as an example of how she lied or manipulated the truth in order to get sympathy. Well, the truth is she was his fiance. And in that article, it states from Medford, Massachusetts, which is where Elizabethshort was from. They did screw up her name in the article. And I get it. She didn't want, Betty Jo Anderson's name in the one memory, the one tangible thing she had to remember her fiance, and she blacked it out. But we look at that as being kind of we should kind of cast aspersions on her character. It's not proof of her distorting and lying. It's proof of her trying to remember her fiance.
Yeah. Yeah. And it seems like after Elizabeth initially loses that first love, she then kind of gets a second love, but she's not really feeling it. Obviously, she had that initial first love, and once you lose that first love, it's hard to develop those same feelings. But she's got this initial second love, and she's on the fence, obviously, because she doesn't want to. She wants to commit, but do I really feel it? And I'm kind of, she's kind of wishy-washy about it, and you'd expect her to be, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing, again, we've always throughout history, we've always seen that relationship, which sort of dominated her life up until the point where she was murdered. Like the last 6 months of her life are about this guy. His name was Gordon Fickling. He was from Charlotte, North Carolina. He had been a pilot in the military during the war, and then afterwards went to go work for 20th Century Airlines in North Carolina. And he was actually stationed in Long Beach, California, and he was the one who said to Beth in their letters, "Come out, like come hang out with me here in California. The weather's warm, it'll be great." And she went out for him. Now we look back on that, and people are always looking for evidence that she was loose and wouldn't commit and broke his heart and moved on. And where was she in these dark corners of Hollywood? But once again, she's 22 years old. She's gone on a handful of dates with this guy. They believe they're in love, but she moves out for a guy, which is pretty common. I think most of us have, made a major move out of love. Whether it works out or not is a different matter, but she moves out for him. And then when she comes to Southern California, it's amazing. There's so much going on. The people are fascinating. She's meeting new people. And she kind of begins to think, I don't know if I want to be tied down to one guy, which again, especially at 22 years old, happens all the time. That's not abnormal. And then eventually he leaves because he figures things aren't working out. Their relationship isn't great. And then when he leaves, she begins to realize I'm not crazy about LA and I kind of miss Gordon and I might have screwed that up. So I want to see if I can try to get that relationship back, see if he's still interested, and then begins this series of letters between them where it's clear he's kind of moving away from her and she's still trying to keep, the flame going. But we can see this as being sort of an aspect of the exotic Black Dahlia and what's really going on, or we can see it for what it is, which is what 22-year-olds do all the time.
Yeah. 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 When you start to look at the way she really is, and you do a wonderful job of portraying her the way she really is. I mean, she doesn't drink anything stronger than a Coke.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, she, there was no glamorous sitting at nightclubs and luring men in. And,
Right.
as you pointed in the book, she wasn't sexually promiscuous. She wasn't, luring men into any trap or anything
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
She wasn't hanging out and trying to get movie roles or anything like that. It really is a tragic killing of Elizabeth Short.
Yeah.
In fact, the day she's killed, she goes to put her luggage into storage, and she's looking for a way to try to get to Chicago.
Right, which was a revelation in the book because for the longest time, people have been speculating, A, why did she go to San Diego a month before her murder? Why was she in San Diego for a month? Why did she suddenly come back to Los Angeles on January 9th, 1947? And where was she for the 6 days that she was missing between January 9th and January 15th? And there's all kinds of theories. And there were tons of people who came out in the late 40s and said, I saw her over here. I saw her over there. Everybody speculated, could that have been it? Was she staying with a girlfriend and borrowing her clothes and her makeup? And I think what I'm able to do in the book is to prove that she wasn't staying with anybody who was taking care of her. She was kidnapped that night on January 9th when she left the Biltmore Hotel and walked outside. Whoever she went to meet essentially held her captive for 5.5 days, and then on the final night, tortured and murdered her.
We'll talk about that when we come back, because there's a thread that runs from Leila to Elizabeth Short to eventually that fateful night when she's killed. And they're killed in similar ways. We'll talk about the similar killings. We'll talk about the methods. We'll talk about the thread that extends from Missouri all the way to California. When we come back with Eli Frankel, my guest. The book, folks, it's a good one. I tell you, I get chills thinking about it. And how it took 5 years, Eli, 5 years to put this all together. But I tell you, it's a good one, folks. It's available today. Sisters in Death, the Black Dahlia, the Prairie, Heiress, and the Hunter, and their Hunter. We'll talk about it when we get back. That thread that extends from Missouri to California. And what ties these two women together? We'll talk about that time when we come back with Eli Frankel right here on the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. Welcome back to the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. My guest is Eli Frankel. The book is out today. It's called Sistersindeath, the Black Dahlia, the Prairie Heiress, and their hunter. And it's a good one, folks. I truly do believe Eli has solved this case. And it is not anyone by the last name of Hodel. I'll tell you that much right now. And it's like we were talking about, Eli, before the break. It's a fascinating ending to Elizabethshort's life. And you wouldn't think that a woman in Missouri would be connected to a woman in California. But how is it that, and even a woman that's up in was it Massachusetts that Elizabeth started out in to begin with?
Yeah, that's right.
How do these two women have this thread that connects them?
Yeah. So as part of my project of looking into the case and trying to learn everything I could, because I'd spent 2 decades being a fan of the case, reading everything, and coming to the point that I think most people do, which is, okay, there's a certain body of knowledge about who she was and what happened here, and then you reach the end of the line. There's no more to learn. So in around 2018, 2019, I was working on Helter Skelter, starting to work on that series. And the researchers on the show, I had them, I probably shouldn't say this, but I had them do a little side work just for an hour. I didn't take them away from the show, but just for an hour to try to locate some documents with regards to the Black Dahlia that were with the city of Los Angeles. And eventually they were able to find what is commonly known as the district attorney files. It's not a big secret. There's a bunch of other people who have read them. I don't know if they're available online, but they're about 1,000 pages from the 1949, 1950 district attorney investigation of the LAPD investigation. And there's a lot of excess stuff in there and things that don't lead to anything and kind of different trails and everything. They're kind of looking at the totality of the case. But there were so many facts and so many little clues buried within it. It was a treasure trove. And I'm not sure anybody had ever really pulled those crucial little gems out of those files and said, okay, there's some really interesting components to the story that we've missed before. Let's kind of plug those into what we know. And how does that change the case? So one of the suspects and I look, every suspect that the district attorney listed, as you know, many other people have, I looked into, but really looked into all those people and started researching them. And it's not it doesn't mean that the district attorney's list of suspects that it has to be one of those people. But it was worth it to me to say, okay, who are they looking at? And why are there certain names that stubbornly never leave the district attorney or the LAPD's sights? And there was one guy who was literally at the top of the list. There is no such thing as a lead suspect, but in the list of who we're looking at, which gets smaller and smaller as the case proceeds into like 1952, 1953, there was one name that was always listed at the top. And then it just intrigued me because there was so little information about him. And people had always kind of plugged him into the story, but it seemed to me that there was a body of research that was missing. And then the obvious question, why the hell are they so intent on pursuing this guy? What is it about him? So I started deep diving into his story. And it began with the LAPD itself, which had been looking into him for years. And they found out that he had gone to college 6 years earlier in his hometown of Kansas City with another woman named Leila Welsh, who had been murdered in 1941, 6 years earlier, in remarkably similar circumstances to that of Elizabethshort. So alarms went off at LAPD. This is odd. We know that this guy spent 3 days with Elizabethshort immediately before she escaped to San Diego, right? She gets on a bus on December 9th, 1946 at midnight. and goes to a city she's never been to before and doesn't know anybody in, which is really unusual for her. Every time she's traveled to a different city in the past, she's planned it beforehand. She has some money in her pocket. She has a place to stay, or she sets something up, or she knows somebody there. This is sort of an escape in the middle of the night. And the police determined that the 3 days she had spent previous to that were with a guy named Carlbalsiger, who was from Kansas City. They look into Carlbalsiger's past and they realize there's this other murder that's occurred at the school he went to, the college he went to in the late 1930s. And then in 1941, this woman is murdered. And again, the circumstances are really striking. There's some remarkable similarities between these two murders, but they don't know the details of the Leila Welsh murder. They don't know what really happened. They have a kind of roundabout police department knowledge of it, a sort of institutional knowledge. So they reach out to Kansas City police and say, hey, we think we have a lead here. We need all of the case files or whatever you can send over from the Leila Welsh murder, and we want to know about Carlbalsiger. And KCPD, because it's their duty and responsibility, says, sure. And then the files never arrive. And then LAPD, a few months later, calls over, hey, remember those files? Can you send them over? And KCPD says, sure. And they never come. And this happens over and over again for the next 3 years. So Los Angeles's sort of knowledge of what happened in Kansas City was really hobbled by the fact that they just had a few newspaper articles to go by. But they knew something was really similar in these circumstances. So in the hindsight, 80 years later, I'm thinking, well, what can I find out about this murder? How many details can I dig up? And thus began, a pretty laborious journey into the archives of various institutions and facilities in Kansas City and Lee's Summit, south of Kansas City. And I was able to put together what I believe is a really detailed picture of everything that the police knew at the time. And it was stunning because there are so many similarities between these two murders. I mean, chilling similarities. And, one of the things the book does is compare what happened to Leila Welsh and what happened to Elizabethshort, and then what happened afterwards. What are the patterns of behavior displayed by this killer that suggest it's the same person? And that becomes a really interesting journey, I think, for the reader to go on.
There's a couple of things that are suggested here, Eli, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in the initial investigation with Leila, they went hard after Georgewelsh, who was Leila's brother. So much so that when George moved to California, he was considered a suspect in the Black Dahlia murder, wasn't he?
Yeah, so he actually wasn't in Los Angeles. That's what's interesting, but they were convinced he was. And the district attorney files state that, he's back in LA. He was here 2 years ago when the Elizabethshort murder occurred. They believed because, again, they didn't have all the information about the murder. And then the subsequent trial of George Welsh in Kansas City, they didn't have all the information. And so they became convinced that George, who had actually lived in Los Angeles in 1942 for about 2 or 3 months, he was getting away from Kansas City after the murder and the horror of it. But he actually had to return because he went on trial. He was indicted. But they were convinced that George was in LA in 1947, which was not true at all. And in fact, at that point, he was already in Texas. That's where he had moved to kind of, get away from the continued suspicion that Kansas City had. The trial was such a big event. It literally competed with World War II in the headlines. And, people never entirely forgot it and kind of remained suspicious. But one of the tasks I set out was like, okay, let's take a look at all the evidence against George. Let's relitigate this thing. And then let's take a look at the trial transcripts, the newspaper articles, interviews with people who were tangentially involved or their parents were or whatever, find out everything I can about the circumstances of this. And let's put George on trial again. Let's look at everything. And there is absolutely no doubt that he was innocent of this murder. The whole thing was a travesty. It was really fueled by politics in Kansas City more than anything. And I think it's important to sort of clear the decks with George as a suspect because, there's still some questions that remain. And I think the book does hopefully more than an adequate job of demonstrating that he was another victim in this whole saga and that they never caught the killer.
Well, I think what it also does is I think it also puts an insinuation, at least it did in my mind. In some readers' minds, it may put an insinuation in there to say, you know what, for every cover up, there has to be a patsy. And I think it set up George as the patsy for a potential cover up.
Interesting. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I think there were some political machinations here.
Yeah.
In order to let someone slide as being the killer of Leila,
Yeah.
there had to be a patsy. I think George was the patsy here for one reason or another.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And certainly what was done to him, the railroading, forcing him to confess under essentially psychological and some degree physical torture, finding of witnesses who all of a sudden claim they saw something suspicious when they never had before, 12 months after the murder. There were all these things that popped up that were clearly manufactured for the sake of just convicting him.
Right. Now, Carlbalsiger he was connected in ways to the community, wasn't he?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So his father was, the whole family was pretty prominent in the city. His father was a major executive. And in fact, they lived in one of the toniest neighborhoods in a beautiful home, especially for that era. It was, kind of the latest and greatest of home styles, and they were socially really respected. His father was a major executive at a baking conglomerate called Interstate. It started out as Schulze and then became Interstate, which later on became Hostess Brands. So pretty big company. And he was very powerful in town. And in fact, one of the things the book goes into is how he worked with Kansas City Police Department in shutting down other grocers. At one point, he was head of the National Grocery Association, and because he had been a grocer himself, and he ratted out other grocers who were staying open too late. Like for him, you got to follow the rules no matter what it takes to get you in line. He was definitely a disciplinarian. He was also a guy who raged against immigrants and didn't want even legal immigrants, didn't want anybody who wasn't born in the United States to be allowed to own businesses or run them, which was ironic because his own parents were from Europe. They were immigrants. So his own parents wouldn't be eligible to own their own businesses under his kind of dictates. But there is no doubt that Balsiger had quite a bit of influence in the city and in the police department as well. Now, whether he used that influence to somehow convince KCPD it'd be better not to send over these documents to LAPD, or whether he helped his son kind of slip through the net, I don't know, but it's an interesting question to be sure.
I think it kind of weighs that way, doesn't it?
It certainly seems to. I mean, listen, part of my responsibility as a writer in a book is to be factual and to not jump to conclusions. But I think in analyzing the story and looking at it now, yeah, I mean, it's weird to me that KCPD would refuse over and over for 4 years to send over case files that the mighty Los Angeles Police Department is demanding. I mean, LAPD, even back then, was a major force, and politically, it's not a good idea to reject them over and over and over again.
Because let's face it, the one thing they chased when they were prosecuting George for the crime was the fact that his fingerprints were on the windowsill, which he
Right.
sat on the windowsill and he smoked cigarettes and sat and in Leila's room every night.
Yeah. No, I love that was such a major piece of evidence against him when it was his own house. It's where he lived. Of
Yeah.
course his fingerprints are going to be in there. That's not a, but they, the prosecution acted like that was the smoking gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty weak sauce evidence, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But when you're, especially back then, when the prosecution and the judges in the circuit court in Jackson County are conspiring together, which is what happened, that is historically accurate, conspiring together to convict this guy, you really have an uphill battle. And again, when the prosecution is able to conjure witnesses out of thin air who are willing to say anything about you, it's real hard to fight against that.
Yeah, it is. It is. So you've got this thread here that exists. You've got these two women who are killed in similar ways, I mean, very similar ways. Yet you've got this one man who it seems he's done this maybe twice.
Yeah. And I mean, to that point about the similar ways, the book details, many of the methods that were employed in these murders that display kind of the same hand, if you will. But as an example of what those similarities are, and this is a little challenging to hear. It's pretty horrific. But in the case of Elizabeth Short, one of the features of that murder was that her mouth was slashed from, the edge of her mouth to her ears, towards her ears, not the whole way. And then also her body was cleanly severed in half at the midsection, right? Which is the famous part of the case. There were two essentially parts of the body that were left on Norton Avenue where she was deposited. Her body was drained completely of blood. That's one of his intentions, was to drain the body entirely of blood. And once it was drained, once blood had poured out, and it takes a while, it's not in 10 seconds, he then cuts a 1 pound piece of flesh out of her thigh. And it had a tattoo of a rose on it. And then inserted that piece of flesh into a part of her body where the coroner's office later found it. But the thing about that pound of flesh that was carved out, and these details are important as hard as they are to hear, is that it was exactly an inch thick. It was approximately 5 inches in diameter, and it was horseshoe shaped or bell shaped, depending on who's describing it from, the coroner's office.
Yeah.
It had skin followed by subcutaneous tissue, muscle, and fat on it. Okay, so it's an inch thick, this thing. Carved out of Leila Welsh's body after she was exsanguinated, drained of blood, while she was in her bedroom 10, 15 feet away from where her mother and brother were sleeping. The killer worked in the silence there in the darkness. He carved a 1 inch thick, 4 to 5 inch diameter piece of flesh out of her thigh that was horseshoe or bell shaped, depending on which cop was reporting that had skin, muscle, subcutaneous tissue, and fat on it. It's literally the same puzzle piece missing from the thighs of both women. And he left that flesh behind, just like the killer did with Elizabeth Short. Now, that's not the only similarity. There's so many others which the book goes into. But think about that.
Yeah.
What other murder have we ever seen that exact kind of carving? And not only that, we know definitively now that this man, carlbalsiger, knew both of these women. That in and of itself is a coincidence that is almost unbelievable.
Yeah. And you're right. There's again, I'm going to refer people to the book. Again, the book is Sisters in Death, the Black Dahlia, the Prairie, Heiress, and their hunter. To see these similarities, they're eerie. They're just eerie, Eli, as to the different behavioral things that were done to both women. I mean, it doesn't take a psychology degree to see how these things line up.
Yeah.
Between the two women. And
Yeah.
you look at them and you go, well, it's obvious. I mean, it's as obvious as a spotlight in your face
Yeah.
to why the same killer did both of these murders. Um, it obviously has to be one, and you know who that one is.
Yeah.
Um, with that, I also can't tell you what happens to Carl. We're going to leave that for the book as well. I find this story so fascinating, and yet it was so frustrating to me to read the end of the story. I have to ask you this as we begin to wrap things up here, Eli. As you're as you're gathering this evidence together, and you're realizing, you know what? I believe I've found the real solution to this story. What are the feelings that are coming up in you?
Yeah, oh wow. That's a good question. I mean, I've been at this for a while now, so there were all these kind of revelatory moments along the way where you got chills down your spine. When you realize, oh my God, I'm the only person who knows this, and this feels really important to the case, and I can't wait to share this and put it together with everything else. It's a really, I don't know how to describe it. It's really unique. I mean, there were, like, for instance, when I spoke with, the family of the woman who found the body and started and got the opportunity to ask her questions, and she answered the questions for me, being able to discover that, for the first time that had ever been publicly revealed, that the body was not left next to the sidewalk, 3, 4 inches from the sidewalk in full view, that it actually had been hidden somewhere, which is detailed in the book. That completely changed the profile of who this killer is. This wasn't somebody who was trying to shock the world with their handiwork and leaving it out for the world to see. And it makes so much sense because on that heavily trafficked artery, nobody had seen the body until 10:50 a.m. And there were people up and down that street all morning. How could that body have been laid out like that and nobody saw it? It was like, of course, what she told me, it made everything make sense. And similarly, the first time I found evidence that Carlbalsiger personally knew Leila Welsh's boyfriend. They had been in the same organization, the Demolay organization in Kansas City, which is actually a great organization. They're still around. They do so much volunteer stuff, like an awesome group. There's no, like, there's nothing negative about his association with them in the 1930s, but there was the evidence that they were together in the same room multiple times in this organization. And then there was the evidence that Leila had been in the same ballrooms and the same events with Carlbalsiger, went to the same church, that she'd gone to the same lake house a quarter mile away from where Carlbalsiger's family had a lake house. I mean, and then myriad other connections. It was so obvious that she had been in his periphery and he had been watching her for many, many years. All those moments were, they fall into place and you begin to unravel and figure out an era, people, their agendas, their motivations, and a story about murders that, you dig far enough and all of a sudden it's like the clouds part. And it's like, of course, it was always there in front of us. We just had to look deeper and we had to listen to Elizabeth Short. And that was the one thing that I felt hadn't been done. She told us that she was going to Chicago after she came back from San Diego. She wrote it in her letters. We just weren't listening. Where was she? Where was she? She was going to take a bus to Chicago that night. And she needed the money to get that bus ticket. And she went to the one person who had given her money multiple times before. We needed to listen to Elizabeth Short. And therein lay the key to unlocking this mystery.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of ironic too. You kind of put it in the beginning of the book when you said your publisher kept telling you keep going, keep going,
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah.
And much like you just said, you had to keep listening, keep listening. So as you kept going and kept going and kept pushing, you kept listening and you kept listening and you kept looking. And
Yeah.
as you keep pushing and you kept going and you kept listening, the answers popped up. Now, mind you, it took 5 years to find the answer. But for a layperson to sit down and look at the case and eventually get it, doesn't that kind of tell you that there was a cover up here? Because it should have been
Yeah.
obvious to an investigator that's there, boots on the ground, looking at it every day.
Hmm. Do you mean in Los Angeles or in Kansas City?
I would think both.
Yeah, I mean, I am not a big proponent of the cover up theory, in at least in Los Angeles. And by the way, I may be wrong. I could be proven wrong, but in reading everything about what the police went through, and the sheriff's office, and the district attorney, and the mayor's office, and the FBI, it becomes really clear that they were desperate to solve this thing at any cost. The future of the department, their jobs, the reputation of LAPD hinged on this one case. It was that big. Now, is it possible that three or four people within a department could form a cabal and, just kind of sideline the investigation? Yes. But in this case, this investigation is so widespread, involves hundreds and hundreds of investigators and hundreds of suspects. It just stretches credulity, I think, to believe that there was a group of people that were trying to derail it. And also, for what reason? There just isn't a reason big enough for them to have essentially destroyed the department in so doing. But, the great thing about this case is that there's so many people who are interested in it, and the research continues, and who knows what will be discovered in 10 years, 50 years. I think this thing is going to continue. And, we'll see what comes down the line.
I don't know, Eli. I think you got it, man. I really do. I think you've solved it. It just, it just, when the light bulb goes on, the gut kind of tells you,
Yeah.
what, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that, you were asking me earlier about, like, the journey and how does it feel and all that. That's it. I mean, that's the exact same thing I was feeling as I was going through. I mean, my jaw was open. It's like, no way. They were this close at this point. They overlap this way. There's similarities here. Carlbalsiger, was known by the police to have beaten several of his dates. He was a known stalker and got restraining orders against him. There's so many little clues in there, and every few weeks another clue would drop, and that's the feeling, is like, it's that gut. Something tells you this isn't right. Something's not right here.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, the book is a good one, folks. I encourage you to go get it. It's available today. It's called Sistersindeath, the Black Dahlia, the Prairie Heiress, and their hunter. I want to make sure I get that right. And their hunter. It's available wherever you get your books. We have a link in the description of this program, so you can go get it. Please go get it. Sistersindeath, the Black Dahlia, the Prairie Heiress, and their hunter. Eli Frankel, I want to thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks, Tim. I really enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed it as well, my friend. Folks, we're going to lighten things up a little bit. It's time now for us to bring in Jessica Freeberg, and it's time now for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals.
It's Crayon News story time.
What happened with this dude, Christ Bearer? I heard he cut his penis off and then jumped off a balcony.
Suspect pulls gun from butt, shoots twice at Denver police.
What is your emergency?
I need help.
And what's the problem?
I'm too high.
You're too high?
Yeah.
It's that time again, the time y'all been looking forward to. It's time now for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals. And with that, I need a co-hostess. And so I look to my left, I look to my right. I look to the spooky part of town where I see someone who not only is doing ghost hunting this time of year, she's writing books. She's hosting events. She's all over the place. She's got so much stuff going on. I don't even know how she got time to do this thing, but the Hindustan Times said, please distract her because she's destroying our charts. Ladies and gentlemen, here she is, eater of worlds, destroyer of charts, hoster of events, and all around great gal. Here she is, Jessica Freeberg. Jess, how you doing?
Hey, I'm exhausted, but I'm here.
Oh, well, I appreciate it.
And I'm excited to be here.
I'm glad you are. Glad you are. Boy, we got some good stories today. It's kind of an odd deal today. We have not safe for work stories, but they're odd not safe for work stories today.
So they're not going to traumatize me as much as usual.
I think they might traumatize you more.
Oh, super.
Yeah.
Great. I can't wait.
Yeah. Although we have funnier regular stories today.
Well, I am here for the laughs, Tim. So
Okay.
lay it on me.
All right. Well, the first one, Jess, we'll call it Dumb Crime, Stupid Cops.
Okay.
Yeah. We're
It
going
happens.
different directions.
Yeah.
A New Jersey cop allegedly ignored a 911 call about a double murder suicide and instead went to an ATM and a pizza shop.
What?
Sometimes you just need lunch.
He was hungry.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to eat. Everybody gets hungry or hangry and needs to ignore that double murder suicide.
He probably figured, well, it's nothing I can do about it now. Let me get some food in my belly.
That's right. They'll keep. Right. First responders typically run towards danger, but a New Jersey cop allegedly hit an ATM and then a pizza parlor instead of responding to a 911 call about what turned out to be a double murder suicide. Yikes. Franklin Township Police Sergeant Kevin Bellaro has been on administrative leave since August 2nd, the day authorities, oh boy, they won't keep an August heat, that's for sure.
Oh, he had to been like, turn up the AC. I got to go get me some pepperoni.
That's right. I need a slice. The day authorities found the bodies of veterinarian Lauren Samanchek, who is 33 years old, and her new boyfriend and volunteer firefighter, 29-year-old Tyler Webb, inside her home.
Yeah, they were so young.
Firefighter and a veterinarian couldn't get along. There's no hope for anybody.
It's Armageddon.
It's Armageddon. I actually got a text from a friend today saying there was a weird 5-hour, this is going to seem weird, I know, a weird 5-hour energy flux this morning.
Yeah.
In the world. So something weird is going on in the world today.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And that's every day, but weirder than usual, huh?
Weirder than usual. Yeah. Yeah. It was actually graphed by seismologists.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I don't know what that means, but probably means that veterinarians and volunteer firefighters are going to go at it everywhere now.
Yeah, we're in trouble when they're killing each other.
That's right. Nearby, authorities found the remains of her 45-year-old ex, New Jersey State Police Lieutenant Ricardo Santos, who had killed himself. Yikes.
Oh, sad. So they were getting along just fine. It was her ex that wasn't getting along.
Yes.
See, the world is still safe, Tim.
I guess, huh? Bellaro had been dispatched to investigate 3 911 calls from Samanchek's concerned neighbors, but never actually went to the home, according to Hunterdon County Prosecutor Renee M. Robeson. Instead, Bellaro falsely stated in his report that he had checked the area along Upper Kingtown Road again and was unable to locate the source of the shots, and that he had cleared the scene after approximately 20 minutes. Can't do that with a mouthful of za. You just can't.
And really, he was just going to get his stuffed crust pizza.
He was, yeah. Oh, you know what? That's sacrilege in that part of the country, though. Stuffed crust pizza. Robeson's office alleged of the August 1st incident. Now, Bellaro was outed by GPS data and surveillance footage that contradicted his account and instead revealed his drive of 1.5 miles in the opposite direction to a TD Bank on Route 31 in Clinton Township, according to prosecutors. There, Bellaro took out some cash and headed for Duke's Pizzeria in Pittstown. I got to do this.
Oh, that had to have been authentically good pizza.
Oh, yeah. Over there at Duke's, I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
During the period, he claimed to have been canvassing Samanchek's neighborhood. And while he did drive through the area, it was briefly and on his way to the pizza parlor. Bellaro was later spotted socializing at the Pittstown Inn restaurant. Oh, gosh.
Well, he's just hanging out.
Yeah. GPS data also revealed that Bellaro spent approximately 5 consecutive hours of his duty shift from approximately 11:27 until 4:33 a.m. at Locust Grove Cemetery, during which no law enforcement activity was recorded by him. So he just sat in the cemetery doing nothing?
He taking a nap?
I guess. Sleeping it off.
Weird.
You got to sleep off that pizzeria. Bolaro has been charged with official misconduct and tampering with records. Oh, do you want to see the cutest picture of this veterinarian ever? That's our veterinarian right there.
Oh, that just makes me super sad.
Yeah. All because our cop on duty was filling his face. His attorney, Charles J. Ciara, issued a statement reading in part, "Nothing Kevin Bolaro did or did not do that day impacted or could have stopped the killings, and the evidence will show that there were delays in these 911 calls being made and dispatched." I don't know about that.
I mean, whatever. He still should have gone straight there.
Right.
Who knows? Maybe he could have offered some life-saving resuscitation.
That's right. Shooting calls, Ciara said, are a regular occurrence in the community, and noted his client has faithfully served that community for nearly 25 years and is not guilty of anything related to this horrendous killing. This prosecution is unfortunate, he went on to say. Well, if he wouldn't have been stuffing his face, I think probably could have saved those two people. That's for sure. Another restaurant-related story here, Jess. Police have confronted a man barricaded inside a Taco Bell freezer with a knife.
That seems like a good place to have a little nervous breakdown.
Yeah. I mean, there's supplies in there in case you need to eat. Here's a picture of him right here.
Not going to go hungry.
Oh,
okay.
Good place to have a nervous breakdown inside a Taco Bell freezer. I mean, why not? You know. We're headed to Rhode Island, I believe, on this one, which is also a good Cranston, Rhode Island. Good place to have a nervous breakdown if you need to. A Rhode Island man is in custody after police say he broke into a home, then ran from the scene and barricaded himself inside a Taco Bell freezer. It's a run for the border, not a run for the freezer. I think he got that mixed up. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Thank you. Cranston police were called after witnesses saw a man running in and out of traffic with a knife on Thursday. When police arrived, they evacuated the restaurant and ordered the man to come out. He refused, leading to a brief struggle before officers took him into custody. Investigators said they also tried to break into other homes nearby and that a juvenile inside one house fought him off with a knife. The man was identified as 38-year-old Tu Chow.
Just for that kid. Wow.
Like saying the name Tu Chow. He faces multiple charges, including breaking and entering, vandalism, and obstructing police. I used to go and have a small breakdown in the freezer at Chuck E. Cheese when I was in high school, but I never took a knife.
No, just your tears.
Yeah, it's just generally my tears after I've been headbutted in the nuts about 4 or 5 times at that shift. After, kids run down the hall.
That did happen.
Yeah. Well, it did. They run down the hall, they're Chucky, and then boom, they bury their head in your nuts. And after you've taken about 6 or 7 doses of Tylenol to try and kill the pain, they don't let you drink beer on the job. You're underage.
That's true.
Yeah.
You have no recourse. You just getting headbutted in the nuts all the time, and you got to take it with a smile.
What do? You go grab a bag of shredded frozen mozzarella, you put it on the old boys, and you scream. That's what you do.
Oh. And then they take that mozzarella later and make people pizza with it.
That's right.
Not gross.
It's cheese in more than one way. You know what I mean?
Oh, no.
You got to do what you got to do.
Adding this to the list of reasons I'm not going to Chuck E. Cheese anymore.
Oh, that's the one? It's not the ball crawl with a dirty diaper in it?
Like, they've used this cheese to ice down some teenager's nads.
Oh, come on. It was over the mouse costume. It wasn't directly on him.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the costume was sweaty, but yeah.
Of course it was, especially if you're a teenage boy in there.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, I digress. Anyways, our next story. The headline is, her bad decision landed her in jail. We're going to Florida, Jess.
Yay!
We've waited long enough. A Florida woman is charged with credit card theft after identifying herself in a social media post. You generally want to keep your theft off of social media. Just saying. A Florida woman was recently arrested after identifying herself as a suspected thief. There's a T in there, in a post online, according to Sunshine State law enforcement. 19-year-old Bryn Gifford, that's why, because she's young and dumb, she put it on social media, stands accused of fraudulent use of personal identification information of a person 60 years old, or 60 years of age or older, by the way. Fraudulent use of a credit card more than 2 times in 6 months, and petty theft, according to the Flagler County Sheriff's Office. On August 9th, deputies began a fraud investigation based on an incident that is said to have occurred at Palm Nails, a nail salon in Palm Coast, small city located roughly 60 miles southeast of Jacksonville. The alleged victim said she visited the salon on August 6th and 3 days later realized she no longer had her credit card in her possession. Then when she eventually checked her card activity, the woman noticed about 10 fraudulent charges that had been placed between August 6th and August 9th, with over $500 in purchases at stores and restaurants throughout Palm Coast. During the ensuing investigation, a detective obtained surveillance footage from various stores where the victim's card was used. Authorities considered their suspect to be a white woman with long dark hair and who was wearing a white camouflage jacket, so she could not be seen in the snow in Florida. It's a perfectly good excuse to wear a white camouflage jacket.
I don't think that works there.
No, not at all. She goes on to explain why this woman got caught online.
Mm-hmm. Kids, we don't have to share everything on social media.
That's right. Otherwise, however, investigators had little to go on, but that little bit allegedly proved to be just enough. On September 23rd, the sheriff's office posted an attempt to identify request on Facebook featuring a low-res photo of a woman wearing a white hoodie. As it turns out, Gifford herself reached out about the post. So she saw herself. Later that day, detectives were notified that a woman had called the Flagler County Emergency Communication Center and advised that she was the individual in the photo.
Wow.
Oh, that's so nice of her.
Hey guys, I think that might be me.
You know what? That could be me. And she asked to speak with detectives working on the case.
Oh.
Was she
Wow.
Was she turning herself in?
Yeah, she's just bored. She's like...
Detectives then met with the defendant for an interview. That was nice of her. Initially, Gifford said she had not done anything wrong, according to the sheriff's office. Oh, this will be good. Ready for this one, Jess?
Yeah, what excuse does she give them?
Initially, Gifford said she didn't do anything wrong. The surveillance footage was then brought to bear again. It was brought to a bear again, evidently, not to her. However, when detectives showed Gifford images of the suspect taken from the surveillance footage, one of which showed the suspect in Walmart using the credit card to purchase items, including notebooks and pens, she acknowledged that that was her in the photographs. The press release goes on. Later in the interview, Gifford showed detectives the contents of her backpack, which contained notebooks and pens, appearing to be the same ones purchased at Walmart.
Oh, she went to buy school supplies.
That was my grandma's card.
What a funny thing to steal a credit card and buy with it.
Yeah. The defendant was later found to have been employed at the nail salon in question as a receptionist at the time the victim's credit card was stolen. Whoopsie. On October 15th, a warrant was issued for Gifford's arrest, and she was taken into custody the next day. On October 16th, the defendant was arrested and booked into the Volusia County Correctional Facility in Daytona Beach. Gifford was released on $4,000 bond. According to Flagler County Sheriff Rick Staley, in a statement, he said, "The case is a great example of the power of social media and how it can help law enforcement, especially if you're a dumb criminal." I put that part in.
Yeah, especially if you're like, that kind of looks like me.
Yeah. Is that me on that video? Am I famous? Less than a day after we posted the suspect's photo looking for more information, she came forward to speak to our detectives. Of course, her bad decision landed her in jail on multiple felony charges, but at least she ultimately did the right thing because of our detectives, and we would have caught her sooner or later. Yeah, but you caught a break. She's stupid. She called you and said,
"Is that me on that video? I am so famous. Oh my God. That is so cool. How did you do that? Is that magic? That is so rad."
Your teenage girl voice is spot on.
Can you make another credit card show up in my wallet? Because I'd like more money to spend. I ran out. She canceled her credit card, and that was so rude. Just wondering if you can get me another one. I have some clothes shopping to do.
Yeah. School supplies just needs her clothes now. She's all set.
I want those totally tits jeans from American Eagle that Sydney Sweeney is wearing. If you could get me another card, that'd be great.
All right, we're going to Fairfield, where an officer is booked on a DWI.
Oh.
Yeah. She kind of looks, she kind of looks like Mally.
I can see that. Mally, what have you done?
Doesn't she?
I can see it. Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit like
super cute.
Yeah, a little bit like she stole Mally's glasses and a wig. In last week's edition, a press release was published from the Teague Police Department regarding the arrest of a Bailey G. Mills for driving while intoxicated, a Class A misdemeanor. According to the press release, Mills was found unresponsive in a vehicle at the drive-through window of a Sonic in Teague. So just passed out at the drive-through window at Sonic, just right. It's really a pisser when you're drunk and you're about to get your food and you just can't maintain consciousness.
She was so close.
She was right there. She was arrested and submitted to a breathalyzer test that turned back a blood alcohol content of 0.16, twice the legal limit in the state of Texas. She was then booked into the Freestone County Jail, and the case turned over to the county attorney's office. Since then, the Times verified that Mills is currently employed as an officer with the Fairfield Police Department. Whoops.
Maybe not anymore.
No, maybe not. After several attempts, the police chief and assistant chief were unavailable for comment regarding possible disciplinary action for Officer Mills. It's either going to involve bringing everybody Sonic the next time she's drunk, or she's off the force, like Jeff said, one or the other. According to Sergeant Markham, he is unable to give specifics, but assures that the incident is still under investigation and disciplinary action will be taken according to city and department protocol. Like I said, probably Sonic for the entire department. That's probably how that's going to go down. I might have to bring back the teenage voice for this one.
Oh, please. I love it very much.
Okay. Here's the headline, Jess. A wealthy housewife who ran down and killed a man on the first date blames her Louboutin heels.
What?
Yes.
Now I'm fascinated. Do tell.
Do tell.
Okay, first of all, here is her mugshot.
Ooh, she looks angry.
Yes, my God. Isn't she? Look at there she is.
Mm-hmm.
She looks like a girl that just ruined her favorite shoes by killing someone with them.
Probably, yeah. Christina Chambers is her name. Yeah. She looks like a Christina, doesn't she? We're going back to Texas. The wealthy Texas housewife accused of plowing into and killing a man on a first date while drunk and high claims her expensive Louboutins got stuck on the gas pedal of her Porsche 911 Carrera.
Oh, no. These are definitely first world problems she's suffering through.
It is, isn't it?
Oh, my God.
34-year-old Christina Chambers went to trial on Friday for manslaughter in connection with the April 2023 crash They killed 33-year-old Joseph McMullen as he and his date were leaving a Voodoo Donut shop in Houston. You ever had Voodoo Donuts?
No, they sound delicious though.
They're supposed to be amazing. Never had one, but I've had friends who have. They swear by
Can we DoorDash those? Where are they coming from?
Houston. I mean, it's a little far, but we can try it.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's some app now that you can use that you can get like food from anywhere.
Yes.
Can't remember what it's called.
Yeah. I think they're part of that. I think Voodoo is part of it. Yeah.
Ooh.
Prosecutors allege Chambers had been bar hopping with friends that night and was 4 times over the legal alcohol limit. So, of course, it was the Louboutins that did it.
It was just the shoes, Tim.
Mm-hmm. And had small baggies of cocaine in her car and purse. So, of course.
Still just the shoes.
Yeah, it was the heels. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But her attorney, Mark Thiessen, argued her designer shoes caused the fatal crash. It's hard when you're drunk and high on cocaine to get those little heels to work the pedals.
Yeah, I'm not buying it. As a woman who wears heels, I'm not buying it.
You may wear heels, but do you wear Louboutins?
No, I'm definitely not fancy enough for that.
Mm-hmm. That's what I thought, sister. Mm-hmm.
And I don't drive a Porsche.
Mm-hmm. See? You know that the pedals on a Porsche are this big.
Mm-hmm. Thiessen claims his client's expensive Christian Louboutin heels had gotten stuck on the gas pedal of her Porsche as she drove down one of Houston's most dangerous curves. Well, whose fault is that?
It's just a recipe for disaster.
Right. However, prosecutor Andrew Figliusi disputed the argument to the jury, believing Chambers was itching to show off her sports car to her 2 friends inside the Porsche at the time of the fatal wreck. About an hour after the crash, Chambers registered a blood alcohol level of 0.301.
Dang.
Yeah.
It's a little drunk.
She had a few.
One too many.
Nearly 4 times the legal limit.
How are you even sitting upright in your car 4 times the legal limit?
It's the heels. The heels did it.
Audio tech Brianna Iturino, who was on a date with McMullen that night, told the court that they just left Voodoo Donuts around 2:25 a.m. Nothing good happens at 2:25 a.m.
No.
When she saw blinding headlights barreling straight at them. Iturino testified that she realized that the speedy sports car, estimated to be traveling over 70 miles per hour at the time of impact, was about to make a sharp turn directly toward them. In the blink of an eye, the Porsche whipped past, missing Iturino by inches, and when she turned to shout a warning to McMullen, he had vanished. Like that. I thought he had gotten out of the way because I couldn't find him, Iturino said. Iturino said she felt something brush against her hip, which she first thought was the car, but later realized it was McMullen being thrown about 30 feet as Chambers drove on and slammed into a pole.
Oh, no.
Yeah. She then called 911, and a dispatcher instructed her to perform CPR until paramedics arrived, but McMullen died at the scene. Chambers and her 2 passengers were injured in the wreck. Want to see what the car looked like? This is what the car looked like.
Oh my gosh. How did they survive?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
It was my Louboutins.
Yeah. Blame it on the shoes. The whole front of the car is totally smushed.
If it was the Louboutins, you would have sued him there, sister.
Yeah.
The general manager of the nearby Slick Willie's pool hall, Alfredo Ponce, also testified, telling the court that he heard the crash and ran outside to help. I've seen so many accidents on that road, Ponce said. Every time I get out and help whoever needs help and is injured. Ponce testified that the crash was one of the worst that he'd ever seen and said when he reached the sports car to help those inside, he remembered it reeked of alcohol, but it was the shoes. Yes, it was the shoes.
The shoes were drunk.
Yes, the shoes had had about 4 or 5 bottles of whiskey at that point.
They were marinated in whiskey before she put them on. It's a thing.
It's a thing. That's how you get the Louboutins to walk without squeaking. Yeah. Chambers was charged with manslaughter in McMullen's death. She's pleaded not guilty, with prosecutors alleging she was driving at an excessive speed and lost control of her vehicle. In the 2 years since her arrest, Chambers' case has seen a string of legal battles. A wrongful death lawsuit has been filed by McMullen's parents against Chambers in June of 2023, and it remains pending. The suit also partly blames Chambers' former partner, hedge fund manager Zwan C., who filed for divorce from her just days after she was released on bail for purchasing the luxury sports car just months before the fatal crash. However, C has denied purchasing the sports car for his ex-wife, claiming instead that she bought the car for herself using cash from their joint account. C also denied that his wife had a drinking problem and said he had never seen her consume drugs or even drive drunk. Sebastian Lopez, a close friend who was probably for insurance purposes, is my guess, is why he's saying, oh, she's never drank or done drugs.
I mean, she has bags of cocaine in her pocket.
Yeah. I think
it's not her first time.
No. It's hard to just happen upon cocaine. You know, it's not one of those things you get free when you buy a dozen donuts at Voodoo Donut. You know, they don't just throw the coke in for free. You know? Sebastian Lopez, a close friend who was riding with Chambers the night of the fatal crash, described her as an alcoholic in his deposition and claimed C knew she regularly drank and took drugs. He added that she'd driven drunk a handful of times, even after getting the luxury Porsche. McMullen's grieving parents are seeking over $1 million in compensation for their son's death. Lawyers in Chambers' criminal trial have been forbidden from mentioning the explosive claims in the civil lawsuit, which is slated for an April court date. Interesting story. But it was the Louboutins. Don't let
Not
anybody.
the shoe's fault.
If you think that one was fun, Jess, wait till I tell you this one. A Bath man, we're going to Bath, New Jersey, is arrested for sending a lit cigar through the bank drive-thru. Normally it's a tube, a little pneumatic tube. This guy just went through a pneumatic tube.
Why would he do that?
To see if it landed on the other side.
Kind of like why the chicken crossed the road, I guess.
Yeah. Now, see, I've been tempted to send different things through the pneumatic tube just to see if they'd fly. But I've never.
What would you send, Tim?
What's that?
What would you send?
Like this pen, just to see if it'd fly. Just see if it'd go. But that would be a dangerous projectile. You could kill somebody with it.
Well, yeah, you could. Or you could put an eye out for sure.
Because you know how fast those things fly? I mean, that's like hurricane. I can't even talk. That's a hurricane it's the Louboutins.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been drinking Louboutins before the show.
Are your shoes drunk?
And my shoes are drunk right now.
God.
Those are hurricane force winds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anything you threw in there could become dangerous.
That's right.
A penny,
right? Anything.
Piece of chewed up gum.
Well, that might just go splat against your forehead, right? But any projectile could be dangerous, right? Well, you take a lit cigar and you throw it. You've just thrown a lit torch.
Why would you? What a jerk.
Right. We go to Bath, New York, where a Bath man, Bath man. See, it's my bad joke of the day. A Bath man was arrested in September after police said he intentionally placed a burning cigar into a money chute at a Steuben County bank and sent it to an employee inside. Why? The guy's 33 years old. He should know better. I mean, even me, being of my advanced age, knows better. 33-year-old Jacob R. Frank of Bath, nice last name, by the way, Frank, was arrested on Monday, September 15th on the charges of assault both Class A misdemeanors, as stated in a release from the Village of Bath Police Department. On Monday, officers were sent to the Chemung Trust Bank on West Morris Street in the Village of Bath for the report of an employee who had inhaled smoke from the drive-through money tube. Oh, that had to be disgusting. Upon arrival at the scene, officers learned that a man later identified as Frank had intentionally placed a lit cigar in the bank's transaction tube and sent it to the employee working the drive-through, the release said. Police said that the employee inhaled smoke from the burning cigar, resulting in the need for medical attention. Following more investigating to the incident, Frank was arrested and charged with the above-listed crimes, according to the release. Frank was given appearance tickets and is scheduled to show up in Bath Village Court in the future. Bizarre.
Wow. And it required medical attention. That's even crazier.
What do you suppose happened when all that oxygen sucked do you suppose the cigar just...
Like major smoke inhalation? I don't know.
It's crazy.
Crazy.
All right, it's time now for our Not Safe for Work portion of our program. The way this works, you take the kids, you throw them in a closet. You take your boss, you throw him in a closet. You get everybody in a closet so they can't hear what we're about to read because it's not safe for work. So here we go. We're going to do it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Our first story involves the curious case of the Walmart syringes. A man claims that he sat on sharps in a store bathroom. I'm going to give you an idea. I'm going to hold up a picture here, Jess. This is what he claims he sat on.
Ooh, ouch.
So imagine 2 syringes taped to the side of a toilet.
Oh my gosh, that's scary. I'm going to be looking at toilets when I sit on them now.
Right?
I don't like that at all.
And that these syringes are filled with something and that you just sat down on them. Yeah. A customer who claimed that he was stabbed by a pair of syringes taped to the side of a toilet in the bathroom of a Walmart in New Mexico told cops that the stall had just been used by a suspect wearing a T-shirt with a demonic symbol on it.
No, it's the Satanist Tim.
A Satanist with a vendetta.
We're back in the 90s. The Satanists are back.
Yep. Satanic panic. Yeah.
Oh, man.
The purported incident last month is detailed in reports prepared by the Farmington Police Department, which has been unable to confirm an account provided to them by 51-year-old Colorado resident Jason Roth. After a long wait to use the bathroom, Roth told cops a male exited a stall and he went in right after. First of all, that never happens in any male bathroom, but go ahead and believe him. According to a police report, Roth told us he immediately sat down on the toilet and felt the syringes against his skin, though he was unsure if the syringes actually drew blood. Roth said that the prior stall occupant was a Hispanic or Native American male wearing a black shirt which had a demonic symbol on it. After reportedly sitting on the syringes, which contained a pink fluid, Roth, of course, took a picture of the sharps, which were affixed to the bowl with white medical tape. The photo, which I showed Jess just now, you can see it on video, was released by police. Mr. Roth said Walmart staff did not appear to care about the situation because they got other things to do.
They're like, and
we sit on stuff like that every day.
It's another day, buddy.
It's another day at Walmart. Welcome to Walmart. If you need anything, we can't help you. We'll be back. Right. Mr. Roth said Walmart staff did not appear to care about the situation. A police review of store surveillance footage has not identified any suspects. A preliminary test on the syringe contents returned inconclusive results. Further testing will be conducted at the New Mexico Department of Public Safety's forensics labs. The current status is inactive, according to a report. In an interview this week with the Tri-City Record, Roth, who spoke on the condition of anonymity, said that he was not sure police believed his story, adding that he no longer uses public restrooms. Pay attention to your surroundings, Roth said. There's demons out there everywhere.
No truer statement has ever been spoken.
Reached on his cell phone, Roth was no longer in the mood to talk about syringes and looming demonic threats. He said, I don't want to put it in the news, he said, adding that if his name appeared in print, I'll get a lawyer. Now he's pissed off.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Police reports do not indicate why Roth was in Farmington, which is about 300 miles from his listed residence in Pueblo West. The 1.5-acre Colorado property was put up for sale earlier this month for $498,000. This is only for sale because of an unexpected military transfer requirement. The listing notes, help out a military man and bring us an offer. Roth's Facebook page includes photos of him in an Army uniform aboard a Black Hawk helicopter.
Oh, God.
There's all kinds of questions we have and not enough time to answer them.
No, definitely not.
That's right.
But there's definitely demons in the Walmart bathroom. That I do know. That's my takeaway.
That's right. There's demons in the Walmart bathroom in Farmington, New Mexico. So, and they're leaving syringes on the toilet. Meanwhile, a popular YouTuber, Mr. Crafty Pants, is facing child porn charges.
Oh, a man who calls himself Mr. Crafty Pants is a pedophile. Shocking.
Go figure, right? I don't know if you've ever seen Mr. Crafty Pants's fun little videos.
I have not.
But it's a small hop, skip, and a jump to child porn.
The world is a scary place.
Jess, we're going to Louisville, Kentucky.
I love it there.
Yeah. A Kentucky man is charged with possession and distribution of child pornography, and he's a popular social media influencer. A source close to the investigation has confirmed that Michael David Booth, who goes by Mr. Crafty Pants online, why I don't know, most of his work focuses on arts and crafts tutorials using smart cutting machines. Booth has a huge online following with more than 500,000 YouTube subscribers and more than 250,000 followers on Facebook and Instagram combined. By the way, his booking photo screams Chomo. Really does. His eyes look
Mr. Crafty Pants.
Mr. Crafty.
Yeah, he's creepy.
He does look creepy. Booth's arrest report states police started their investigation in August when an account on the social media app Kik was reported as one sharing child porn images. The arrest report revealed that a subpoena linked the account to Booth's residence. According to investigators, 3 files depicting minors under the age of 12 and 3 files depicting minors over the age of 12 but younger than 18 were linked to Booth. I think he's been busted.
Yep.
Yep.
Throw the book at him.
Yep. The arrest report states that those files were distributed more than 15 times.
Ugh.
I think he's guilty.
Yep.
Neighbor Laura Nash said she moved to the area because it's a great family-friendly neighborhood and was shocked to learn the reason for the heavy police presence. It makes you feel vulnerable, she said. It's terrifying as a mom to hear about something like this. It just makes you realize that you're not safe anywhere. Nash said she immediately asked her children if they had interacted with Booth, but they hadn't. She said this has been a wake-up call for her community to remain vigilant. It's scary to think that we would have had access to, she said. I know that he had followed a bunch of my friends online, so it's worrying to me to wonder that he may have been viewing of their lives. It's an eye-opener for sure. Booth appeared in court on Thursday. The judge issued a $100,000 bond. If Booth were to post bond, he would be placed on home incarceration and wouldn't be allowed any access to the internet. I don't know that home incarceration is the place for him to be.
No, probably not. Just stick him away at jail.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, our next story, just as scary, Jess. A DoorDash driver is fired for sharing video of his customer and claims sexual assault.
Yikes, that's terrifying.
Today is one of those get in your head type of days. I hate to say it. A DoorDash delivery driver was fired after she reported and shared footage of what she described as a sexual assault during a delivery in New York. Livy Rose Henderson posted several videos on TikTok describing the incident on October 12th including one that appeared to show a customer lying on a couch exposed from the waist down.
Oh,
How would you like to be delivering food and discover a wiener on the couch?
no, thank you. I will pass.
The videos, which have been viewed millions of times, led to Henderson's termination. DoorDash confirmed in a statement shared on Newsweek. It said that both Henderson and the customer had been banned while the company investigated the incident. Newsweek has contacted Henderson via social media and the New York State Police Department via email for comment. According to the National Sexual Violence Resource Center, 81% of women and 41% of men in the U.S. experience some form of sexual harassment or assault. Gig economy workers, who often interact with customers in private settings, face particular risks. Many companies have policies and reporting processes pertaining to sexual harassment. As a result, DoorDash has both a privacy policy prohibiting the sharing of personal identifying information or imagery captured during deliveries, and a sexual harassment policy, which applies to both couriers and customers. Henderson posted several videos about the incident and her subsequent dismissal that have amassed millions of views on TikTok. Oh, she blew them up on TikTok. In one post, Henderson said she arrived at a male customer's home to find the door open and the man lying on a couch indecently exposed. Henderson said she filmed the incident, shared the footage on social media, although this post has since been removed, and reported the incident to DoorDash, which she described as her primary source of income. 2 days after submitting the report, she said her Dasher account was deactivated. Whoops.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So she got in trouble.
She got in trouble.
Huh, that doesn't seem right.
No. Henderson shared that she had contacted the police about the incident after being encouraged by people on social media. DoorDash confirmed to Newsweek that Henderson's termination was linked to her sharing footage of the incident on social media, not to her report of the alleged incident. In a TikTok video posted on Wednesday, Henderson said, "I was literally working and they deactivated me. They just punished me for posting about my sexual assault while door dashing." DoorDash, in a statement shared with Newsweek, said, "No one should ever have to experience sexual assault, harassment, or abuse, and DoorDash never deactivates someone for reporting it, full stop. We take these reports incredibly seriously and work closely with law enforcement to investigate and support those affected. However, posting a video of a customer in their home and disclosing their personal details publicly is a clear violation of our policies. That is the sole reason that this Dasher's account was deactivated, along with the customers, while we investigated." DoorDash said it was investigating and in direct contact with law enforcement about the incident and had made sure Henderson had full access to her earnings. Further developments may emerge as authorities assess whether criminal charges will be filed. So DoorDash is saying, well, you also put the customer at risk by giving information about the customer.
Right. You can't videotape your customers and put it on your TikTok. And I wouldn't think TikTok would allow you to put a video of somebody's wee willy on your TikTok account either. Is it acceptable?
Is that the medical term? I'm sorry. the wee willy?
Is that how we go viral, Tim?
I think so, yes. Yeah, the wee willy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, a little less threatening, and maybe the Hillsborough County Sheriffs could do this. Post video of someone barging into their office in just a Speedo.
Oh.
Yeah. Maybe they could go viral.
Can't that ever happen to me when I'm in my office?
See, and you could just film it and then put it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that would be wonderful.
You could say sanity break here at the office and then just
just another day.
Just another day at the office. See? Maybe what I could do is I could come over to the office later this week in just a Speedo and I'll run around, for
you can do that.
Yeah, and then they'll haul me away.
Or maybe the Amazon man could deliver my package in just a Speedo, like
delivering a package.
I think I just need someone to show up in a Speedo.
Yeah. Just anybody. The UPS guy,
Doesn't matter who.
He runs in and says, "I got a package for you."
And I'd be like, "Yeah, you do."
Yeah, and he's pointing to his package. See? Yeah. And That'd be fun, wouldn't it?
That harkens back to the old Saturday Night Live Dick in a Box.
Yeah.
When you were doing that, that's all I could see.
It's my dick in a box. Yeah. We go to Goffstown, New Hampshire. Of course it's New Hampshire. Yeah. I just think there comes, there's maple syrup season in New Hampshire, and then there's every other season. And then there's
Speedo season.
Speedo season. And I think they're in Speedo season. It's right before maple syrup season. So, the natives get a little restless.
I don't blame them.
Exclusive video obtained by News 9 investigates. They got the Speedo video. So good for them. Shows the moment two dispatchers in Hillsborough County stopped a man wearing only a Speedo and a hat. Oh, yeah, he was wearing a hat as well, from entering the building. So he tried, but he wasn't successful. Just let him run through the building.
Yeah. Some of us would find it very entertaining.
Well, now, when I tell you his age, maybe not. 50-year-old Corey Nickerson of Goffstown has pled not guilty to several charges, including assault, criminal threatening, and false imprisonment.
It's fine. I don't want to see it because I think it's going to be hot. I want to see it because it's going to be freaking hilarious.
Okay, fair enough.
So 50 and over is perfect.
They do consider it assault if you're older than 40, I think. Yeah. Just, we don't want to see your old junk running around.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Police said two dispatchers were assaulted in the incident on August 9th. No one was seriously hurt. The surveillance video shows Nickerson interacting with the dispatchers. My article is acting strange here. Police said Nickerson was able to force his way into the building by following an employee through a secured door. He then allegedly physically assaulted two dispatchers before running away from the building and leading police on a brief chase. Oh, that had to be fun. Dun, 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 dun. It's just hat and Speedo. Typically, they're here rendering assistance over the phone and over the radio for people that are calling 911 or have an emergency that they're needed assistance for, and they found themselves in needing assistance here. Hillsborough County Sheriff Brian, this thing is jumping all over the place. Brian, what's his name, said it just jumped to a blank page. So, you get the idea. He got
the guy in the Speedo. It's just bouncing all over the
yeah,
place.
Guy in a
Free
Speedo,
Willy.
bouncing all over the Wee Willie. Cinderella story coming out of nowhere. Just having a good time. But yeah, he got charged with multiple charges, including assault. Really, I suppose he messed with the dispatchers, but nonetheless.
Yeah.
Now, do you really need to lay your hands on dispatchers? That's my thing.
No, definitely not.
No, I mean, you can flop your dongle around without having to assault the dispatcher.
Don't touch anyone.
Yeah, you don't have to touch anyone. You can just flop your dongle around without a hands-on policy.
Yeah, hands off while your dongle's flopping. I feel like that's a rule.
That's a rule.
It's not, it should be.
That's a rule when you're doing the, when you're doing the thing.
How do we make a law, Tim? I feel like that should be a law.
How do we make a law?
Across all 50 states.
A national law. When you're flopping your dongle, hands off.
Hands off.
We're going to make that a constitutional law.
Dongle flopping, hands off.
Yeah. We'll call it the 30th Amendment, which I know we're skipping some amendments there, but we'll make it
It's
the 30th.
fine.
30th,
is a nice round number.
yeah, to the Constitution. No flopping your dongle. No assault while flopping your dongle.
Right. I mean, nobody's working in the government right now, so we could just sneak in and write it up, and
Right.
I'll just take the gavel and smack it on something and be like, proved, and it's done.
Don't smack it on the dongle. Yeah. If you're gonna.
Well, you got to keep the dongle away from me. I
Right,
mean, if I
right.
smack it, it's your own.
that means
so
you're
close.
That means you're too close. That means you're close to committing an assault. So, keep your dongle away so you can smack the gavel. And then, we'll make this whole thing official. I like it.
Exactly.
I like it. So, there we go.
So, Tim for president. You heard it here, folks.
Yeah, Tim, exactly. Tim for president, because you need my goofy ass running this country. Probably not. God. Let's see if this thing's ready to go yet.
Do we have to keep talking about dongles?
Oh, no, we don't have to keep talking about dongles. No, I think we're good. We can move on to the next story.
Oh, we've got so many names for it, though. It was a wee willy earlier. Now it's a dongle.
Wee willy, a dongle. You can name it a Hassenpfeffer if you'd like, but it just...
Ooh, that means it's big.
Yeah, well, it's better than saying a hog, right?
That's a big sausage. Oh, no.
That's why I love having you on this segment, Jess.
I hope my dad doesn't listen to this show. Oh.
I'm glad this is coming out of your mouth and not mine. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what's happening. I'm really tired.
I got an interesting story here. Believe it or not, it took a killer to tell us that there are porn star Pokemon cards.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's new.
Did you know that?
No, I thought Pokemon cards were just for nerds, but now I know they're for nerdy perverts.
Right, they're for nerdy perverts. And it took a killer to tell us that.
I'm just kidding. My brother has a full collection of Pokemon cards.
Does he?
He's kind of a nerd, but
does he have the porn star one?
He's also cool.
Okay, well, maybe we should have asked him. Maybe he knew.
Oh, I wonder if he has any tucked away, like hidden.
Maybe he's got them deep.
Secret stash.
Deep in the closet. It's this guy right here who told us this week.
No, stop it.
That there are porn star Pokemon cards.
Well, how does he know?
Because he was on a trip to Japan before he killed an executive.
Yes, he's a very famous killer.
And claimed that he paid off a Yakuza member with porn star Pokemon cards.
Huh.
I'll tell you.
There's something for everyone.
I'll tell you the full story here. During his Japan trip, I know people who are listening on audio are going, what are you talking about?
Oh, yeah. What are they talking about?
During a Japan trip, Luigi Mangione texted a joke about paying for a prostitute with porn star Pokemon cards. Kind of interesting. Here's the story. Several months before he would be accused of gunning down the CEO of United Healthcare, Luigi Mangione backpacked across Asia. Now, Mangione is facing state and federal murder charges in connection with the death of United CEO Brian Thompson, who was fatally shot while walking down the street in Midtown Manhattan in December of 2024. The New York Times reported on Mangione's travels through Asia, including in Thailand and in the mountains of Japan in the spring of 2024. Why did my voice crack there? Probably because I'm reporting on porn star Pokemon cards.
You're really excited about this one.
I really am. I'm keyed up now.
The 12-year-old inside of you is like,
that's right.
What? Pokemons with boobs?
Pokemon porn star cards.
TNA on my Pokemon cards. Who knew?
And I get to talk about it in front of a woman. My dreams have come true.
Oh, my.
All right. Here we go. The New York Times have reported on Mangione's travels through Asia, including Thailand, the mountains of Japan in the spring of 2024. God, I'm doing it again. What's going on with my voice? According to
puberty.
Puberty. Gosh, Mrs. Robinson. According to the paper, Mangione made friends overseas and kept in contact with them during his trip. At one point, Mangione was in Osaka, Japan, and texted his friend a photo, joking that he had attempted to pay a Yakuza boss, an organized crime leader, for a prostitute using porn star Pokemon cards rather than with yen, according to the Times. Mangione reportedly also told friends that he was seeking a slower pace in Japan's Nara Mountains, where he hoped to zen out. Well, you know where else you can zen out really nicely? A jail.
Yes, definitely. He's going to be in there for a while, I think.
Yeah, he is.
I hope.
The Times reported that Mangione, a Maryland native who lived in Hawaii after graduating college, traveled from Japan to Mumbai, India, before returning to the United States. Mangione reportedly briefly settled in San Francisco in July, 5 months before the shooting in New York City. Mangione has pleaded not guilty to all the charges he's facing. Thompson, who of course is a Minnesota resident, had been in New York to attend an annual investor conference for United Healthcare. He was the father of 2 sons. Federal prosecutors are, of course, seeking the death penalty for Mangione. So there you go. Porn star Pokemon cards.
And who would have thought Mangione would be the one to educate us about that?
Who'd have thought? There you go. Another thing I'll educate you on. Did you know that there are some, I'm going to blow your mind here.
Okay.
We're going to go to Florida for this story.
I'm excited.
Did you know that there are some Starbucks that have gay pride flags on their walls in Florida?
Okay. That probably doesn't go over well there.
It didn't for one particular person.
What happened?
If you were to tell me that there is a Starbucks in the middle of Clearwater, Florida that had a gay pride flag in it, I probably would have said, okay, let's time it and see how long it stays on the wall.
Oh, yes. Sadly.
Yeah, sadly, right? Well, let me show you a picture here, Jess. I'm going to blow this picture up. This guy right here decided he was going to take that challenge.
Why do you care, sir? Why do
Right.
you care?
Why do you care? It's just a flag. Let it
Go
fly.
play with your porn Pokemon cards.
Right. You probably have porn star Pokemon cards to play with at home. Why? Just go home and sort your porn star Pokemon cards. Grab your coffee and go.
Yeah.
You don't have to sit and look at the flag. Get it to
Yeah,
go.
who cares?
Yeah. In the end, it's a rainbow. There are rainbows in the sky. Do you rage the rainbow in the sky?
Probably. Dummy.
An offended man is arrested for ripping a pride flag from a Starbucks wall in Clearwater, Florida. The Starbucks patron who was offended by a pride flag hanging in the coffee shop threw his drink on the flag first and then ripped it from the wall and stuffed the item in a garbage can.
Wow, what a waste of an $8 coffee.
$8? He probably paid 10 to 12. It's Florida.
I mean, yeah, and also depending on the size, we got the big one.
Right. 31-year-old Tucker Kemp was arrested for criminal mischief in connection with the incident at Starbucks in Florida. Investigators say Kemp entered the Starbucks at around 9:15 a.m. First of all, where do you get all the energy at 9:15 in the morning?
It's awfully early to be raging.
Yeah. And spoke to a manager about being offended by the flag and the fact that they should be putting up an American flag. Easy there, bucko. Just settle down. Simmer down. Simmer down. After the worker explained that it was their policies to display the pride flag, Kemp allegedly decided to take matters in his own hand. Literally his coffee in his own hand. Kemp, cops charged, doused the flag in tea. Do you find that ironic?
He was drinking tea.
He was drinking tea.
He was having a tea break.
Isn't tea supposed to be calming?
Only if you drink it with your pinky out, Tim.
I guess. He then ripped the flag from the wall and put it in the trash. Cops estimated that Kemp caused about $210 in damages to the wall and the flag. Booked into jail on the misdemeanor count, Kemp was freed from custody yesterday afternoon upon posting $500 bond.
Wow, that wasn't much.
Cost him more to go to jail, though, than it did for the flag.
Drink your coffee or your tea and go about your business.
Right, right. Kemp works, believe it or not, as a sales manager at Dignity Memorial, which is a Tampa Bay area funeral home chain.
Oh. Hmm.
Doesn't he know people of all races and creeds need to get buried anyways?
Maybe he only allows certain people into his
How much dignity
services.
is there at
I
Dignity
don't know.
Memorial?
Come on.
According to public records, Kemp lives in Clearwater with his wife and young daughter. I won't cast aspersions as to what he swears to. His Facebook says priorities: God, family, and business. In a post, he linked to a certain news story about a purported Bible buying boom in the wake of somebody's killing. I won't say who.
So he has strong opinions.
He has strong opinions.
Which it's fine. I mean, I'm actually really cool with everybody's opinions about anything. Like, but if you don't like something, you don't need to be an asshole about it. Like,
you know,
it's not impacting you, truly.
Right. It doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. It just
There are real problems in the world, and the pride flag in Starbucks is not one of them.
That's right. Live and let live. Just it doesn't matter. What does what somebody else does or does have to do with whatever you do? It doesn't affect you either way.
It really doesn't.
Go about your day. You know? And again, what are you going to do when you see a rainbow in the sky? Are you going to attack it? You're going to throw your tea at it?
Yeah. I want to see him attack it.
I do too. Like a little chihuahua on the ground.
I just want to see him raging in the middle of the park, screaming at the sky like a psychopath.
Yeah. Yeah. Go for it, buddy. I mean, you know, what are you going to do? You know, it's astounding to me. That's for sure. All right. We have one more story, and then we have our palate cleanser today. Or palate cleanser or something else, Jess. And I apologize ahead of time. Okay. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
I have a new career.
Ooh, what are you going to do?
Well, I learned it over the weekend. And I learned it by watching social media videos. I was inspired after reading this story.
Okay.
Now, I sat down last night, I read the story, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to watch a couple of videos. And believe it or not, I went out and I bought a 1990s Toyota Corolla. And I said to myself, you know, I don't make any money doing this show, but I found a way to make some money now. I'm going to do it. In fact, I opened a little office right out in my driveway.
And what are you doing?
Yeah, I call it Timmy D's Penis Enlargement Clinic. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Timmy D's Penis Enlargement Clinic. It's right out in the middle of my
Out of the Corolla?
Yeah, right out of the Corolla. Yeah. If it worked for this guy, it'll work for me. The headline is Old Wanger, Dodgy Doc arrested for performing illegal penis enlargement ops from his 1990s Toyota Corolla.
Worst idea ever to go to someone to have your penis enlarged in a car.
Well, it worked for this guy. I figured it could work for me.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? He claimed to have learned his side hustle from watching social media videos. So that's what I did.
Those don't come into my feed.
Well, you'd be surprised when you look it up what happens.
Huh.
A dodgy doctor has been arrested for performing illegal penis enlargement operations in the back of his 1990s Toyota Corolla.
Operations. So like with a scalpel?
Yeah. What you do is you get yourself either a scalpel or a little rusty fillet knife, one or the other. You know, and you get a little sodium pentothal and a little.
In my brain, I was thinking it had to be something more like, you know, like when the Kardashians were making their lips huge with like a cup. Sort of suction thing.
Oh,
but no, like a scalpel.
We're going in. Yeah.
And people are like, yeah, I'll pay you money to cut my penis in the back of your 1990 Corolla.
Well, the reason being is it lays down. It's a hatchback. So,
Oh, well, that explains it all.
yeah, you got to have a place for them to lay down. And then it's got little handles on the side so they can hold on tight because this is going to be it's going to be a little painful.
It's going to hurt.
Yeah, well, you got a little lidocaine. You get a little lidocaine, not much. Because we're going in. But by the time we're done, that little micro penis you got, boy, is going to be at least 3 inches. So here we go. Know what I mean?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Shady surgeon Pitaya Mulin, who's known as Chang Yai Modify, 51 years old.
What a moniker.
My name is Timmy D. Extend Your Pee-Pee. Yeah, that's my name. So
Okay, well that's legit. I mean, if I had a penis, I would let you enlarge it in the back of your Toyota Corolla.
yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It offered bizarre on-the-go genital enhancements to Thai men.
So specific.
Well, it's a market.
Yeah.
You got to look at it. His bungling antics unfolded inside his beaten-up antique of a car, with customers eventually exporting his dubious services to police. Bangkok cops launched a probe into the doctor's dark arts. They found the unlicensed suspect was promoting penis enlargement, circumcisions, and pearl implantation surgeries through social media. On his TikTok account, I know I'll let you digest that for a minute there, Jess. I did say a lot there. Penis enlargement, circumcision, and pearl implantation surgeries.
What is pearl implantation?
I'll let you Google that one.
Okay, I'm
That's a
Googling
lot.
it now.
Pearl implantation surgeries. And I'll wait for your reaction here in just a moment.
How fast can I type? Let's see. What is it telling me?
This will be good, folks. Watch this.
Wait, no, this is telling me about putting it in an oyster.
Okay, no, that's not it. On his TikTok account, he claimed he was able to deliver his services for convenience. You have to pearl implantation in penis. You have to Google that.
I got to add in penis. Yes, I didn't think they were doing this to oysters. That's just weird. That's even weirder than doing it in a penis.
Yeah. But he made no mention of the fact that patients would be going under the knife while stuck in the back of a vehicle. You found it, I see. But
why? Why would you want a bumpy looking penis? Like, people would think you had genital warts. No one's gonna see that and be like, yeah. Gross.
It's done for texture. Yeah, it's done
I
for
mean,
yes.
buy one of those rings. Jeez. I mean, you don't have to implant. Oh my, what is wrong with the world, Tim?
I'm glad I could get that reaction from you today. And I learned you on something new today.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Authorities detained the bogus practitioner on October 18th while he was in the middle of a baffling purling procedure. Yes, he was in the middle of one of those when they got him. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. His last operation was taking place in a makeshift operating theater. His gray sedan parked alongside Kampfang Phet 6 Road. So he was alongside the middle of a road, on the side of the road.
On the side of the road.
Purling it up.
Sticking some bumpy beads.
Yep.
Under penis.
He's in the middle of making a bumpy dick.
How disgusting is that vehicle? Like, think of all of the juices and body fluids and blood and
I'm sure he lays down plastic. Either that or he gets it detailed every once in a while.
I doubt it.
After being caught red-handed, literally, Cops seized 189 different kinds of pearls. So he's got a variety there for you.
Who would have thought there'd be so many options?
There are options. Well, I suppose depending on the size and the size of the pearl you want put in. I mean,
Is that a common thing for that culture? Like, how does he have such an audience of people who are like, I need the beads and I'm so desperate for them. Yes, you can do it on the side of the road in the back of a disgusting car.
I suppose it's a cost thing, right?
Yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, certainly has to be cheaper.
Could be.
No insurance, no problem, but
That's
I
his
just don't
slogan.
understand.
How did you know his slogan? It's like you took appointments for him.
Well, everyone needs a side hustle.
That's right. After being caught red-handed, cops seized 189 different kinds of pearls, local anesthetics, surgical blades, needles, and other equipment. To think about it makes it disappear into my stomach. That's all I'm saying. The deceptive doc did not even have any sterilizing equipment to prevent infections. That's right. He didn't
That's
sterilize
what I'm saying, Tim. There's no way he kept that vehicle clean. It was gnarly. There were juices everywhere.
He said, I became interested in this kind of work, so I studied and developed it as a side hustle to supplement my income. I have been doing this for around 1 year. 1 year of unsterilized equipment. I have a picture of it here in just a second.
I don't want to see the nasty.
Oh, there's no
Oh.
juices anywhere, as a matter of fact.
How about crust? Is there crust?
Oh, there's no crust. There's no crust. The procedures saw patients have their private parts pumped with filler, giving a girthier appearance. Police said he was charged with practicing medicine without registration and authorization. The crime is punishable by up to 3 years in jail, a fine of up to 687 pounds, or both. Shocking images showed the underhanded surgeon being led away by cops as his questionable scheme was busted. Social media pictures also showed the pearl implants the doctor allegedly attached to patients. Police Major General Loncrit, I can't even say that name, commander of the Consumer Protection Police Division, said pearl implants or penis enlargement injections carry a high risk of inflammation or infection, potentially resulting in penile dysfunction. We would like to warn those involved to immediately cease their activities, as police will continue to monitor and or arrest them. So here, Jess, if you're ready for this, here's the equipment they seized out of the car. Okay. Here are the beads that they seized out of the car. I think it jumped on me. Hold on a second.
It did. I can see it though. Okay, so some of them are round and some of them are straight.
Yeah, and there's one that's even shaped like a dick. Hold on.
Oh, you can have a dick-shaped bead in your penis?
Yeah, there's one right there.
Oh, that's the one I thought was straight.
Yeah.
Oh, you can have a little penis in your little penis.
Yeah, see? A micro and a micro.
Wild. That is... I'm not ashamed to admit, while you were talking, I was Googling images over here of what a penis looks like with the beads in it, and it is freaking me out.
It should, yeah. And that's
I am not okay.
That's the tray from the car. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
looks quite official.
Yeah, it does. Doesn't it?
Semi-official.
Semi-official, right. So, yeah. So there you go. That's
Wow, that was
disturbing, wasn't it?
what a story. Cleanse my palate, please.
I don't know how much I'm going to cleanse it with this, but I'll get your mind thinking something else. How's that?
Okay.
Okay, here's a palate cleanser for today. YouTuber Tyler Oliveira branded a racist and dragged through the muck after filming an Indian village's messy poop throwing fight.
Ew.
An American YouTuber is raising a holy stink after he filmed a dung flinging ritual in a remote Indian village.
Like their own poop?
I'll tell you in a second.
25-year-old
25-year-old Tyler Oliveira shared a teaser clip entitled Inside India's Poop Throwing Festival, where it quickly piled up more than 5 million views. Here's a picture of Tyler Oliveira at the festival.
Ooh, he
Yeah.
looks like he got some on him.
I think he did. Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah. He's dressed from head to toe.
He's smiling big though. He looks really happy.
Oh, I don't think he looks happy at all. But the video taken at the Gorhaba Festival, in which villagers hurled dried cow dung at each other as part of a post-Diwali Hindu tradition, was criticized for ignoring the significance behind the smelly stunt. In another post, he shared a picture of himself in a hazmat suit and goggles covered in brown smears following the event in the remote village of Gumatapura in Karnataka in southwestern India. Happy Diwali. Yes, I went to India's poop throwing festival. It was the shittiest experience of my life. I will never go back. Please pray that I survive, he wrote, accompanying the post with a poop emoji. Backlash soon started piling up around him. He subsequently shared screen grabs purporting to show that his video was facing censorship and mass reporting from Indian users who claim he is smearing their country. Why do you have to come to India and then record a video of a cow dung festival by going in the middle of the event and then cry like a loser? One Indian ex-user wrote.
Fair question.
I don't think they're happy with him. You shitty fellow, you can record poop in Western countries, plenty on the streets of California. Human poop you can have record in your countries. Make videos, the user added. I filmed in many of these cities. Don't be mad, bro, Oliveira responded. Others claim the YouTuber, who has more than 8 million subscribers, had been hired to leave a stain on India's reputation. He's not here to explore, he's here to defame. It's hard to believe that this isn't part of a planned smear campaign, an ex-user wrote. He is known for spreading racism and misinformation, added another. Others insisted that the video of the annual festival, which is also held in at least 2 other Indian villages, must be AI-generated BS. This is 100% real. I can't wait to show you a 30-minute version of it, Oliveira said in a response to a doubter. There's other pictures of him here walking and drinking something in the middle of a village.
Love the hazmat suit.
Yeah, the hazmat suit is something else. Devotees of the festival believe their god, Bireshwar. My apologies for those of you in India who are listening. I'm butchering the name. Bireshwara Swami was born in cow excrement, and the ritual is seen as sacred and purifying. But some purported Indian social media users argued that in the modern day, such a smelly tradition would only paint the country in a bad light. India's PR got nuked. I'm not sure how to defend my country anymore, a Reddit user said. Once that drops, we're finished. Why does the government even allow this disgusting festival to happen? Why hasn't it been banned already? It's crazy how one tiny village can tank India's image this bad, they added. Oliveira did not immediately respond to requests for comment.
I have to be honest, I don't really think it's that disgusting if it's cow poop. If it's people poop, that's disgusting.
No, it is cow dung, and that is a picture of what it looks like to be in the middle of it, Jess.
I mean, it's pretty gross. As a kid who grew up on a farm, we did used to throw cow pies at each other. I mean, I didn't know I was, having a religious experience, but
you were at the time, yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was better to get the softer ones because the hard ones could scratch your face up if you got hit with one. Ow.
I can't claim I've ever had that experience.
Well, come with me back to Iowa. Your dreams can come true.
I guess so, huh?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That's your palate cleanser for today.
I feel cleansed.
Do you feel cleansed?
Yeah, I'm cleansed with the cow poop.
There you go. All right, that'll do it for today. That is your True Crime Tuesday for today. I want to remind you about the book that is out today. and you can pick it up today. It's called Sisters in Death, the Black Dahlia, the Prairie, Heiress, and their hunter. Sisters in Death, the Black Dahlia, the Prairie, Heiress, and their hunter. Eli Frankel is the author of this wonderful book. Again, available today. And I believe it solves the mystery of the killer of the Black Dahlia. So there you go. So that'll do it there. Jess, you have a ton of stuff going on, but you've got stuff going on this week, right?
I do. I have 2 presentations at 4 Paws. Those are sold out, so nobody can come to those. But I do have 2 events that I just put on my website, for one in December and one at the Palmer House in January.
There you go. So check out
So-
Jess's website. We have a link in the description of this program, so you can check those out. I was at a trunk or treat on Saturday.
I saw pictures. That looked so fun.
It was really fun. I got to meet a lot of interesting, cool people. If those people are listening, thank you so much for coming out and saying hi. I actually met a local author who writes monster romances that I may have on the
Oh,
program in the future.
I love that. You have to have them on the program. That sounds so interesting.
So yeah, it was a good day on Saturday. So, all right, this week, supernatural news, and then an old friend stops by and we talk ghosts on Thursday.
Fun.
Yeah, that's the week, and as we're ramping up to Halloween already, Jess.
Oh, I can't believe it. But I'm so ready for it. October, what month are we in, has worn me out.
Is it?
Yeah. I feel like I'm running the bases and I just want to slide into home.
Yeah, you're
Ready
right.
to be done.
You're ready to be done.
But it's been super fun.
Yeah, I can't wait for Friday. I love answering my door and giving away candy and seeing the kids in their costumes, and
It's fun. They're so cute. And I even love seeing the teenagers when they come around. Like, we have a lot of teenagers that still go out in our neighborhood, and I'm just like, keep going, kids.
yeah. I have that same theory. You know, I'd rather see a teenager at my door, even if they don't show up in costume.
Yeah,
Rather
same.
see a teenager at my door asking for candy than out on the street getting in trouble. So
Yeah. I'm slashing my tires or egging my house or
yeah,
all the other bad things they could be doing. They're just hanging on to their childhood. Let them enjoy it.
yeah. So I'll keep my light on till 10 o'clock
Yeah.
so that they can come to the door and get candy. So yeah, I love Halloween. Love Halloween. Always have. So
It's the best.
so hope you guys have a wonderful Halloween.
Absolutely.
All right, that's going to do it for today. Folks, hope you've enjoyed today's show. And again, if you have a story for Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals, just send it to me, tim@darknessradio.com. All right, that'll do it. Supernatural news tomorrow, right here on Darkness Radio. And for Jessica Freeberg, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much for tuning in to the best in true crime podcasting. This has been True Crime Tuesday.
For more audio and video archives of True Crime Tuesday, intriguing content, fun events, and cool swag, check out darknessradioshow.com. The executive producer of Darkness Radio is Troy Palmer. If you enjoyed today's program, please make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. And be sure to join us tomorrow for Supernatural News with Jessica Freeberg.